Aaliyah Boston and Angel Reese were both in the building, but it was Caitlin Clark's understated entrance that triggered the biggest ripple online, despite most major outlets completely missing it. Her return was never splashed across headlines or hyped in pre-game coverage. Instead, her presence had to be pieced together by fans through TikTok snippets and Team USA's behind-the-scenes posts. Even now, the mainstream silence around one of the biggest names in women's sports is glaring. And yet, the buzz is undeniable. Whether it's her near absence from Instagram, her informal content with Lexi Hall, or the sudden surge of reposts and reactions, Clark's digital footprint is starting to heat up again, and everyone paying attention knows exactly what that means.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
This is the beginning of a strategic reset, not just for Clark, but for how she wants to be seen. She's not just slipping back into action. She's repositioning herself in a space that thrives on moments going viral. With limited press coverage, her team is leaning on official footage and carefully timed content drops to reintroduce her. There's no doubt she's the focal point, not just for Team USA, but for the broader shift in women's sports coverage. Clark's return has already started breaking the internet in pieces. Now comes the part where it explodes. Caitlin Clark didn't need a viral play. She didn't need a 40-point game or a dramatic buzzer beater. All it took was a few seconds of footage, a blink and you'll miss it TikTok, and confirmation that she had arrived at the Team USA camp in North Carolina. And suddenly, it was like she never left. This was her first public basketball appearance since early July. Months without a game. Months without her name in headlines the way it used to be. And yet, the second her arrival was confirmed through social media, the energy shifted across every platform. She hadn't posted anything big. She hadn't even been that visible. But her mere presence? That was enough to break through the... And what's wild is that the buzz didn't come from ESPN or CNN or any of the usual suspects. The mainstream media was mostly silent. No glossy features. No big "she's back" campaigns. Instead, the spotlight fell to Team USA's official accounts, fan footage, and social sightings. That's what built the hype. That's what confirmed what fans have been waiting for. Clark is back. And not just physically. This is the start of something bigger, a realignment of her brand, a comeback that might just reset how we talk about stardom in women's sports. There's no question the public missed her. The silence didn't go unnoticed. After dominating conversations for months, Clark's social media activity dropped off dramatically. No training montages, no promo content, not even casual day-in-the-life posts. And in a world where visibility is value, that quiet had people talking. Was she taking a step back? Reassessing? Changing direction? Turns out, yes. She was, quietly, under new management, and, if you believe the digital tea leaves, on the path to a full rebrand. This return to Team USA feels like the first chapter in that process. It's calculated, minimalist, strategic. There's no hard sell here, no oversharing. Just her showing up, letting the internet do what it does best, spiral. And spiral it did. And Lexi Hall. The now viral TikTok featuring Clark and Lexi Hall didn't show her dunking or training. It was a goofy, lighthearted moment. Two athletes cramming marshmallows into their mouths. That's it. No context, no deep message. Just two teammates having fun. And yet, the response was overwhelming. Fans didn't just watch, they engaged. The clip blew up, not just because it was funny, but because it reminded people that Caitlin Clark is more than a stat sheet. She's a personality, a presence, someone who can move culture with or without a basketball in her hand. That kind of viral power isn't accidental. It's the kind of relatability that modern sports marketing hinges on. And for an athlete stepping into the next phase of her public life, it's gold. But what's different now is the environment she's stepping into. At this Team USA event, Clark isn't the only name on the roster. Players like Angel Reese, Aaliyah Boston, and Sonia Citron are there too. Big names, elite players, all commanding attention in their own right. But Clark? She's the centerpiece. The one that dominates the comment sections, the headlines, the reactions. It's not about being the best player in the gym. It's about being the most talked about. And right now, Clark owns that space. Which brings up the other piece, the lack of mainstream coverage. Usually, a return like this, especially from someone who's been considered the face of women's college basketball, would trigger a media frenzy. But instead, it's been mostly digital whispers, fan-shared content, and updates from Team USA's official socials. That's where all the coverage is happening, which means the narrative is being shaped directly by her team. No filters, no spin, just curated content that tells the story they want told. In a media world that often races to control the headlines, this is a powerful move. It allows Clark and her management to slowly shape a return without being boxed in by outside expectations. No interviews needed, no press junkets, just footage, a TikTok, and the knowledge that the internet is watching everything. And they are. The reactions to her return have been loud. Fans calling her the queen of women's sports. Tweets declaring she's back in the building. Video views piling up, clips being reshared by accounts with millions of followers. The buzz isn't fading, it's building. And the longer she plays it cool, the more intrigued people. But buzz alone won't carry this moment. That's where the rebrand comes in. Clark now has a new agent, a new team behind her, and clearly a new approach. The days of overexposure might be behind her. What's next could be more intentional, more brand-driven, and more focused on longevity than virality. And that's not just good for her, it's smart. Because let's be honest, the game has changed. Athletes aren't just judged on performance anymore. They're judged on presence. How well they connect with fans. How often they show up on feeds. How well they balance elite skill with digital personality. Clark already has the numbers. She already has the legacy. What she's building now is something more valuable, sustainability. By keeping her digital activity limited and letting Team USA's content do the heavy lifting, she's creating demand. People want to hear from her. They want to see what she's doing, what she's thinking, what she's planning. Every clip is treated like a teaser trailer. Every post is an event. And when she finally ramps things up, more posts, more appearances, maybe even some partnerships, that audience will already be locked in, ready to ride. It's also worth pointing out that being at this event with other top athletes adds legitimacy to the whole moment. It's not a vanity play. She's there with the best, training hard, putting in work. Her presence isn't just symbolic, it's competitive. But still, every camera finds her first. Every headline centers her. That's the kind of influence that can't be faked. And it's what's going to carry her through this next era. The return of Caitlin Clark is more than just a player walking back onto the court. It's a brand reboot, a digital revival, a signal to fans, media, and the entire sports world that she's not just still here. She's about to be everywhere again. But this time, it's on her terms. So what do you think? Is Caitlin Clark stepping into her most powerful era yet? Is the soft return strategy working? Are you here for the quiet confidence? Or are you waiting for that big moment to hit? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you've been keeping tabs on every update. Share this with someone who's been wondering where she's been. And don't forget to subscribe, because this return, it's only getting... The fact that Caitlin Clark's return is getting this much attention without a press conference, a viral highlight, or a brand announcement says everything about her status right now. She's no longer just a rising star. She is the main event. And what's wild is that her return didn't come with a choreographed media rollout. No slick interview clips. No official welcome back campaign. No merch drop. Just a few raw clips, one TikTok, and Team USA's social media whispering, "She's here." And that whisper? It turned into a roar. This is what happens when a game pauses for you. When your absence doesn't weaken the conversation, it amplifies. Because let's be real, women's basketball didn't stop after July. Aaliyah Boston's been putting in work. Angel Reese is still trending on her own. Team USA's pipeline is stacked with talent. But still, even in a sea of stars, there was a Clark-shaped hole in the spotlight. And now that she's back, the spotlight's not just on her, it's locked in. And no one's really surprised. Because for all the talk about her needing to prove herself at the next level, the truth is, Caitlin Clark doesn't need to chase the game. The game follows her. She doesn't need to overexpose herself on social media to stay relevant. A single sighting at a training camp sends algorithms into chaos. A TikTok of her laughing with a teammate trends before it's even an hour old. That's not hype. That's influence. But here's where things shift. Influence like that can either fade or evolve. Clark's choosing evolution. Her absence was clearly intentional. You don't step away from the spotlight at the height of your fame unless you're thinking long-term. And now we know she was recalibrating. New management, new strategy, and based on everything we're seeing from Team USA content, a new way of controlling the narrative. There's no messy oversharing here. No rushed return. Everything feels clean, quiet, and calculated. The marshmallow TikTok with Lexi Hall? That wasn't random. That was soft branding. Fun, non-competitive, goofy in a way that reminds people she's still relatable. Still grounded. It balances the intensity of being a top-tier athlete. And it works. Because suddenly, it's not just sports media posting about Clark. It's lifestyle accounts, pop culture commentators, and Gen Z fan pages. That's how you break out of the sports bubble. That's how you scale beyond basketball. And the message? She's still that girl, but now with a little more mystery. And the mystery is driving the momentum. For months, people kept asking why she wasn't posting, why she hadn't said anything, where she was training, what her next move would be. And now that she's resurfaced, the intrigue hasn't worn off. If anything, it's grown. Because the footage we've seen so far, it's minimal. No interviews. No formal appearances. Just glimpses. But those glimpses are everywhere. That's how you build a narrative before you ever say a word. Now let's talk about timing. Returning at a Team USA event isn't just convenient. It's symbolic. It's the ultimate neutral ground. No franchise politics. No league pressure. Just pure basketball and elite athletes showing up to compete. Clark doesn't have to prove anything here. She just has to exist. And her existing is already pulling more attention than any scripted media tour could. It also gives her space. Space to reset, to feel out the environment, and to do it with credibility. Team USA isn't fluff. It's high level. It's prestige. And when you walk into that space and still steal the narrative, that means something. And what's wild is that the rest of the players there, players like Reese, Boston, Citron, they're not slouches. They're some of the biggest names in the sport. But the focus still gravitates to Clark. That's not by accident. That's not unfair. That's just how sports culture works now. It's not always about who scores the most points. It's about who commands the most attention. And right now, Caitlin Clark is doing both without lifting a finger. But there's pressure in that, too. Because now that she's back, people are going to be watching her every move. Not just how she plays, but how she posts. How she speaks, who she tags in photos, what brand she aligns with. Her digital footprint is the game now. And if her team plays it right, this comeback could be even bigger than her breakout. That's why the rebrand conversation matters so much. Because Clark isn't just returning as a player. She's returning as a product, a personality, and potentially a powerhouse for sponsorships and media. And if her new management understands that, they'll focus on building out every part of her brand, not just the on-court performance. Think about it. One lighthearted TikTok already reminded fans that she's funny, relaxed, and real. One walk-in video had people calling her the queen of women's sports. And one training camp presence, not a game, not a highlight reel, just a presence, is dominating the conversation. This is brand power in its purest form. And here's where things could really take off. If she starts posting consistently, just once a week, even, she could double her engagement numbers. If she gives fans behind-the-scenes looks at her training, or even just locker room moments, the internet would eat it up. If she drops just one exclusive piece of content, whether it's a Q&A, a vlog, or even a playlist, she'll own the moment. That's how much people are invested. But that investment doesn't last forever. If Clark wants to capitalize on this window, the timing has to be right. Right now, the buzz is organic. People are hungry for updates. They want to see how she's doing, what she's planning, how she's adjusting. And if her team leans into that, there's no ceiling. Because this return is about more than basketball. It's about building a sustainable future in a space that's finally giving women's sports the attention it deserves. And Clark, whether she signed up for it or not, is leading that charge. She's already redefined college basketball. She's already pulled more views than most pros. And now, she's on the edge of something even bigger, cultural crossover. And that only happens if she continues to build that bridge between athlete and icon. So let's call it what it is. This comeback is working. It's smart. It's sharp. It's patient. And most importantly, it's far from over. If you've been watching all the clips, reading every comment, and refreshing her page for updates, you're not alone. The whole internet is right there with you. The buzz isn't accidental. It's earned, and it's building by the minute. Here's the thing about comebacks. They're never just about returning. The best comebacks change the landscape. They shift the energy. They say, yes, I've been gone, but now I'm back, and everything's different. That's what Caitlin Clark is doing right now. Quietly, without even playing a game, she's altering the mood in women's basketball. She didn't need to dunk or drop 40 points or make a headline-grabbing statement. She showed up, and that was enough to throw gasoline on a fire that had been quietly burning since July. Let's be honest, her absence was loud. People were refreshing her socials like they were waiting for an album drop. Comment sections turned into message boards, fans speculating. Where is she? Is she hurt? Why isn't she posting? The silence wasn't just noted, it was felt. And when that happens, you know someone has real power. People don't wait like that for just anyone. And now, without warning, she's back. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. And somehow, that's even louder. Because she knew exactly what she was doing. The soft reentry. The limited exposure. The reliance on Team USA's official posts instead of blasting her own updates. She didn't come back shouting. She let the internet do the shouting for her. And it worked. Clark and Lexi Hull, a TikTok with Lexi Hull. No branding, no sponsorship, no over-editing. Blew up simply because Clark was in it. She wasn't even doing anything basketball-related. She was being goofy, laughing, stuffing marshmallows in her mouth. And it went viral. Not because it was shocking, but because it was her. That's the moment her team probably realized she doesn't have to do much. She is the content. But being the content comes with pressure. Now that she's reappeared, fans are going to want more. They'll want training clips, warm-up footage, game day vibes. They'll want the raw moments and the polished ones. And it won't be enough just to show up occasionally. She'll need to engage, or the momentum starts to slip. But the beauty of this moment is that Clark is in control. She can set the pace. She can decide how much or how little she gives. And she's surrounded by the perfect platform to do it. Team USA. This isn't some local training camp. This is the best of the best. Angel Reese, Aaliyah Boston, Sonia Citron. Every player there has something to prove. Every player there is hungry. And yet, Clark still manages to dominate the narrative. That's not to say she's better or more important. It's just the reality of her presence. The energy in the room changes when she walks in. Not because she demands it, but because the culture has built that for her. The fans made her a star. The clips made her iconic. And now, the moment is making her inevitable. But let's talk about the media. The fact that this return hasn't been plastered across major sports media is telling. And honestly, it might be the smartest move of all. Because when mainstream coverage is absent, the official team's digital channels become the default source. And that gives Clark and her camp complete narrative control. No awkward interviews. No dissected sound bites. Just curated moments. That slow-motion clip of her walking in the facility, that wasn't just casual B-roll. That was the content. That was the rollout. And it did exactly what it needed to do. Remind everyone that she's back and she hasn't lost a step, digitally or culturally. She's still the moment. But now that she's here, the question is, what's next? Because the rebrand talk isn't just internet speculation. It's real. She's under new management, and that usually means one thing: strategy. A new direction. A new image. This isn't about wiping the slate clean. It's about upgrading. Clark 1.0 was the record breaker, the college phenom, the walking highlight reel. Clark 2.0, she's bigger than the game. She's a national name, a media figure, a branding opportunity. And the way she carries herself moving forward will either cement that or flatten it. The first step? Consistency. She doesn't need to post every hour. But regular, intentional updates will keep her fan base engaged without oversaturating the feed. A quick locker room clip, a training photo, a caption with a little personality. These are the things that build brand loyalty. Fans want to feel like they're in on the journey. And Clark has the rare ability to make people feel like they're part of something bigger. The second step? Storytelling. Right now, there's a huge opportunity to give people a look behind the curtain. We've seen the marshmallow moment. Now show us what training with Team USA really looks like. Show us the dynamic with the other players. Show us the routines, the grind, the pressure. This generation of fans lives for that. And Clark, with her platform, could turn a simple practice session into a must-watch event. The third step? Expansion. Right now, she owns the sports world. But her personality, the humor, the ease, the ability to command attention without forcing it, that's crossover material. That's late-night interview potential. That's docuseries level content. The moment she decides to step into that broader space, it's over. She's no longer just a basketball star. She's a cultural figure. And that's what this comeback is setting up. Slowly but powerfully. The thing about Caitlin Clark is that she doesn't have to be loud to be heard. She doesn't have to dominate the news cycle to dominate the conversation. She just needs to move once and the ripple spreads. The return to Team USA? That's the move. This is a reintroduction, not just to the game, but to the media, the fans, and the brands watching closely from the sidelines. And the fact that her presence at a training event is being talked about more than actual games, that's not hype. That's impact. So now, the ball's in her court. Literally and digitally. She can lean in. She can scale it up. She can drop content, drop points, drop moments. And people will follow. But even if she says nothing else for a week, even if we only get one more clip, even if she keeps things tight-lipped and offline, the narrative will still run. Because she is the narrative. And that's a rare place to be. So if you're still watching, if you're still checking for updates, still waiting on the next clip, still scrolling through comments and retweets, you're not alone. Caitlin Clark has returned. And whether she chooses to go big or keep it low-key, one thing is clear. She never really left. If you're feeling the momentum, sound off in the comments. Let us know how you think Clark's next chapter is going to unfold. Tap like if you've been following her journey since day one. Share this with someone who still doesn't get the hype. And don't forget to subscribe, because this return, it's only getting started.